For centuries, the earth has whispered secrets through forests, mountains, and deep, forgotten waters. Some creatures hide in the shadows of folklore, others in the blurry corners of photographs and trembling eyewitness accounts. And while skeptics dismiss these as myths or mistakes of memory, there are moments, terrifying, undeniable moments, when reality bends and the impossible reveals itself. Today, we open the final chapter of the Globe Cryptid Saga. This is Volume 10, The Cryptid That Refused to Disappear, a collection of encounters so bizarre, so chilling, that they blur the thin line between myth and truth. 1. Memphremagog, Quebec, Canada. Nestled deep in the icy waters of Lake Memphremagog, which straddles the border between Quebec, Canada, and Vermont, lies a legend that refuses to sink. Locals call it Memphr, a serpent-like creature said to haunt the depths of the lake. For generations, its presence has both terrified and fascinated those who dare to venture too close. The earliest documented sightings of Memphr date back to the 1800s, when fishermen reported a massive, undulating beast breaking through the misty waters. Its long, dark body, glistening under morning sun, was said to move with the grace of a serpent, but with the power of something ancient, something primal. In 1951, two witnesses, Mary Gallant and her husband, claimed they saw a creature nearly 40 feet long, its head shaped like a horse's but scaled like a reptile. They described the sound it made, a deep, guttural groan that echoed across the still lake, sending chills through their bones. The local paper published their account, and soon the town of Magog became the center of cryptid curiosity. In 1996, a tourist captured footage showing a strange ripple formation moving unnaturally fast across the water. Experts dismiss it as wind, but those who know the lake better swear it was Memphr herself surfacing to breathe. Over the decades, countless boats have gone missing, engines have failed mysteriously, and sonar readings have picked up something large moving beneath the surface. Even modern divers claim they feel sudden pressure, a shift in the water, as if something vast is swimming just out of sight. Skeptics point to misidentified sturgeons or optical illusions caused by waves and light. But believers insist the lake holds more than fish and reflections. They say Memphr is not a myth. She's a reminder that even in our world of science and satellites, mysteries still lurk in the deep. And as one fisherman once said, the day we stop believing, she'll stop surfacing. 2. Megamouth shark, cryptid still with us. Some cryptid begin as myths and are later proven real. The megamouth shark is one of those rare stories, a living testament that legends can have teeth. In 1976, a U.S. Navy research vessel off the coast of Hawaii accidentally hauled up something extraordinary, a massive, bulbous-headed shark unlike anything seen before. Measuring over 15 feet long, its enormous mouth and glowing white skin looked like something out of science fiction. Scientists were stunned. This was no known species. They named it Megachasma pelagios, the megamouth shark. Before that day, whispers of a giant, light-emitting shark had existed among Pacific fishermen. They told tales of the ghost of the deep, a slow-moving creature that drifted through black waters with its glowing mouth open, attracting prey like a living lantern. No one believed them until that Navy net proved them right. Since 1976, fewer than 100 megamouths have ever been recorded. They rise from the deep without warning, appearing near Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, and even California. Every sighting reignites the question, how many unknown giants still roam the oceans? One of the most eerie encounters occurred in 1990 near the coast of Taiwan. A fishing crew reported a soft blue glow rising from below. Moments later, the hull of their boat shuddered as something immense brushed against it. When they looked down, they saw a massive, gaping mouth slowly drifting beneath them, silent, ghostly, and watching. The creature descended back into darkness without a trace. Despite modern technology, no one knows how many exist or how deep they live. But one thing is certain, they are real. Once thought a myth, now a fact. The megamouth shark reminds us that even the ocean's most incredible secrets can still surprise us. So when we talk about cryptids, we should never forget, sometimes the legends are alive, swimming right beneath our ships. 3. The Gloucester Monster, Massachusetts, 1817. In the early 19th century, the quiet coastal town of Gloucester, Massachusetts, became the center of one of America's strangest maritime mysteries. The year was 1817, and the people of Gloucester lived by the sea, their lives built on fishing, sailing, and faith in the tides. But that summer, something emerged from the Atlantic that shook the town's very soul. It began with fishermen reporting a serpentine creature slithering just beneath the surface of the waves. They described a long, dark form, about 50 to 100 feet in length, moving gracefully yet unnaturally. The water around it rippled with strange energy, as if the ocean itself bent to its will. Its head, they said, was the size of a barrel, with glistening eyes that reflected the morning sun like polished glass. Soon, dozens of witnesses saw it. Entire boats of sailors and coastal families gathered to watch as the enormous being surfaced and dove in rhythmic motion, leaving a pattern of rolling waves behind. The newspapers of Boston and Salem picked up the story, calling it the sea serpent of Gloucester. Among the most credible witnesses was Solomon Allen, a respected naval officer. He swore he saw the creature clearly, black and bumpy, with humps that rose and fell like the hills of the sea. Even scientists came to investigate, sketching diagrams and collecting testimonies. The descriptions were consistent, too consistent to dismiss. Theories spread like wildfire. Some claimed it was a massive oarfish or an unknown whale species, while others insisted it was a prehistoric survivor, perhaps a relative of the plesiosaurs or a creature thought to have vanished millions of years ago. Then came the encounter that no one forgot. One foggy morning, a group of fishermen set sail, hoping to prove or debunk the myth. As the mist thickened, they heard a sound, a deep, resonant hum, like the rumble of thunder from beneath the sea. Suddenly, the surface erupted. The men saw something enormous glide past their boat, so close that the water slapped against the sides. One man swore he saw a fin the size of a door. Then, silence. The sea went still again. No one could explain what they saw. But that day, the legend of the Gloucester monster was carved forever into New England history. Centuries later, people still report strange shapes in the ocean off Massachusetts. Modern sonar scans sometimes capture shadows that shouldn't be there, large, moving masses with no known explanation. Maybe it was just a misidentified whale. Or maybe, just maybe, the Gloucester monster still returns, reminding the coast that not everything in our oceans has a name. For the Partridge Creek monster, France. Now we move from the misty Atlantic to the frozen north of Yukon Territory, Canada, and the chilling pages of a French explorer's journal, a story that feels more like a fever dream than a field report. In 1908, the explorer Georges Dupuy published an article in the French magazine J'essaie titled The Monster of Partridge Creek. In it, he described an encounter so strange that even seasoned hunters questioned their sanity. According to Dupuy, while traveling through the icy wilderness near Partridge Creek with a local guide, they noticed a herd of caribou suddenly scatter in terror. The air grew eerily quiet, the kind of silence that only comes before something massive arrives. Then, from behind a ridge, a colossal reptilian shape appeared. It moved on four legs, with a long tail dragging behind it, leaving deep marks in the snow. Dupuy and his guide watched in stunned silence as a creature, which he later described as resembling a dinosaur, perhaps a ceratosaurus, lunged at one of the caribou. The snow exploded upward, and when it settled, the herd was gone. Only strange, three-clawed footprints remained. He claimed the creature's head was covered in scales, with a single curved horn on its nose and eyes that shimmered like amber glass. It made no sound except for the heavy thud of its steps and the crack of frozen ground beneath its weight. When Dupuy's story was published, the scientific community laughed it off. They said it was a fabrication, a fantasy, perhaps the result of snow mirages or exhaustion. But locals in the Yukon weren't so quick to dismiss it. They whispered that something large had been seen in those valleys before, that entire herd had disappeared without a trace. Years later, in the 1940s, a hunter named Raymond Leclerc reported something eerily similar. He described a massive beast with scales and a tail crossing a frozen river under the northern lights. He followed the footprints for miles until they vanished into the forest, as if the creature had simply melted into the night. No remains were ever found. But Dupuy's story remains one of the most famous cryptid accounts in Arctic legend, a chilling reminder that nature's ancient secrets may not all be buried in fossils. Some may still roam the snow, leaving behind only footprints and fear. 5. The sky blue bird, North Yorkshire, England. In the rolling green hills of North Yorkshire, England, where fog drifts across the moors and the wind hums through the heather, villagers speak of a creature that defies every rule of nature, the sky-blue bird. Unlike the black crows and brown hawks that circle above, this being gleams with a light so vivid it seems to glow even in the dead of night. The first reports date back to the 1890s, when farmers near Whitby began to notice something strange gliding silently across the twilight sky. They described a giant bird, wings stretched wide as a barn's roof, shimmering in hues of electric blue. The creature would appear during storms or heavy mist, never in clear daylight, and vanish without a sound. One of the earliest detailed encounters came from Edward Cartwright, a farmer who claimed that the bird landed on the field behind his home after a violent thunderstorm. He said its wings emitted a faint hum, like the vibration of power lines, and that the air around it felt charged, as if the atmosphere itself was alive. When he stepped closer, the creature turned its enormous head toward him, eyes glowing a deep indigo, before it lifted effortlessly into the clouds and disappeared. In the 1930s, several pilots flying small mail aircraft across northern England reported seeing a massive blue silhouette keeping pace with them through the fog. One pilot, Alan West, said it matched his plane speed, over 100 miles per hour, before suddenly climbing straight upward into the clouds and vanishing. He landed shaken, insisting it was no aircraft and no known bird. Modern witnesses describe it the same way, enormous, silent, and radiant as though made of light. Some cryptozoologists suggest it could be an undiscovered bird species with bioluminescent feathers. Others think it's something not of this world. Folklore tells that the sky-blue bird appears when someone is at a crossroads in life, as if it comes not to frighten, but to guide. Today, when the storms roll over Yorkshire and the skies flash electric blue, some locals still step outside and look up, wondering if the old tales were ever really tales at all. 6. The Thetis Lake Monster Police Hunt, 1972. It was the summer of 1972, and the peaceful town of Victoria, British Columbia, was about to face one of the strangest mysteries in Canadian history. On the edge of town sat Thetis Lake, calm and surrounded by forest trails where locals swam, fished, and camped every summer. But one August afternoon, two young men burst into the local police station, pale, trembling, and dripping with lake water. They claimed they had just been chased out of the water by a scaly humanoid creature, standing nearly 6 feet tall, with sharp fins on its head and silver-gray skin that shimmered like wet metal. One of the boys, Mike Gold, even had a deep gash on his hand. He said the creature grabbed him before he broke free and ran for his life. At first, the police didn't believe a word, but the boys' fear was too real to ignore. Later that night, officers visited the lake, and what they found made the story impossible to dismiss. On the muddy bank, they discovered strange footprints, wide and webbed as if from something half man, half fish. Within days, the press caught wind of it. Headlines screamed, "Monster Hunt at Thetis Lake," and the area flooded with curious onlookers. Then came a second sighting. 2 more men claimed they saw the same creature emerge from the water at sunset, standing motionless for several seconds before diving back beneath the surface. Some believed it was a prank, maybe a scuba diver in a costume. But police reports from the time confirmed that no diver suits or equipment were ever found. The strange tracks vanished after a rainfall, and so did the creature. Decades later, eyewitnesses still come forward with similar accounts. Some say it appears at dusk when the water is perfectly still. Others claim to have heard low, bubbling noises under their boats, followed by a faint splash behind them. Even sonar sweeps have shown strange shapes that vanish as quickly as they appear. Whether it was an undiscovered amphibious species or a trick of the imagination, Thetis Lake has never felt the same since. The locals still say, if you swim after dark, you're not alone down there. And so, we close the final chapter of our journey, Volume 10 of the Globe Cryptid Saga. From the frozen depths of Quebec's Lake Memphremagog to the glowing skies above Yorkshire, these stories remind us of one truth. The world is still far more mysterious than we imagine. Every culture, every land, carries tales of the unexplained, whispers of creatures that seem to slip between our world and another. Some are seen once and never again. Others return generation after generation, defying logic, refusing to fade into legend. Maybe these cryptids are not simply monsters or myths. Maybe they are symbols, reminders that curiosity, wonder, and even fear are part of what makes us human. They challenge us to look closer, to listen deeper, and to admit that for all our science and satellites, there are still places in this world where the unknown lives quietly, just beyond the reach of light. This volume, a slightly more aquatic journey, features 6 cryptids from the waters of our planet. I wanted to use the remaining time to thank everyone for watching all 10 videos of the Globe Cryptid series. This marks the end, unless, of course, there's public demand for more of these mysterious tales. So, if you enjoyed the series, don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the Dark 66 channel, so more of this kind of content can come alive once again. And as always, the next time you hear a splash in a calm lake, or see a shadow move against the night sky, don't be too quick to explain it away. Because somewhere out there, in the corners of Earth we rarely see, something might still be watching back. This was Volume 10, The Cryptids That Still Haunt Our World. Thank you for joining the journey. And remember, the mystery never ends.